Hi everyone, this is Mr. Shao for week 14, and we're going to be talking about assignment number 2 in this week. So let's go ahead and look at the study guide. All right, so we're going to be looking at our Industrial Revolution study guide. You're probably saying, whoa, already? Well, our Industrial Revolution section isn't very long, and it'll be pretty short. And our in class next week will be our quiz for Unit 4 about the Industrial Revolution. So it's going to be a quick kind of hit on the Industrial Revolution. So just make sure you're ready for the multiple choice quiz coming up. Again, probably about 20 questions, and it's going to be revolving around what happened and why is the Industrial Revolution so significant and important. All right, so make sure you're ready for that. That's going to be the Monday and Tuesday morning block of next week. Okay, so we're going to be looking at our study guide today, and you're going to need to kind of complete that based on the materials from the last 2 weeks. And it's not too much to look at. There's a few slides, and then of course some of the information is also going to be in our journal entries. So you can use that to be very helpful. And again, just a reminder, there is no school on Wednesday, November 11th. No homeroom for you guys. So that's going to be a Veterans Day. So go ahead and thank a veteran for serving and giving their time to help America. All right. So let's go ahead and go to our assignment number 2. Okay. And that is going to be under week 14, November 9th to the 13th. And we're going to be looking at the Industrial Revolution Study Guide. So go ahead and click on this and you will um, see this study guide. All right, for the study guide, I'm going to tell you where to find some of this information. Hopefully this is relevant and helpful to you and as you kind of go and dissect the study guide. So the study guide has several questions, and of course, there's going to be references in your book to this. So if you're going to be using some of the book, that's going to be starting on page 170, and it's only going to go to about page 176. And that's the information we're going to cover up to that point. I'm sorry, 179. And so you're going to first look at some of the entries about definition. The Industrial Revolution needs to be defined, and we're also going to be looking at other vocabulary, which is actually included only in your journal entry. So that's going to be on the second slide of your journal entry. So if you're thinking about, okay, well, how do I know what this means? Well, a lot of vocabulary is going to be in the journal entry. So go there to kind of look at definitions. We're going to be looking at the Industrial Revolution and, of course, the causes. And so this week's slide in your pod is going to cover the list of causes, the agricultural revolution, and even the cotton industry. And if you're like, oh, Mr. Shah, I missed all of that. Well, go to page 171 in your book, and it'll take you to some information about all of these items, and it's also to help you define what the cottage industry was. So that's actually where you find that, page 171, and also in our Nearpod and slides. And so all of these questions, most of them can be covered from the Nearpod and slide. What industry was first to industrialize? Again, on page 171, 172, and also we're going to be lecturing about that. So make sure you kind of review the slides, and that will be an easy way for you to find the answer. And the factory system, besides the videos we've been watching that actually talks about factory life, you could again go back to the slides. You could go back to our little activity about urbanization and what it was like for the growing community, and again, what kind of conditions they put people in, and what factors of production. Okay, so remember the water frame. Where did you have to put the water frame? Where did the Industrial Revolution begin? And that's actually an easy one. Referring back to our journal entry, probably the third or fourth slide talks about a map that actually gives us an idea of where this kind of started. So again, this is going to be in slides. It's actually in three different places, in your book, in your slides, and also in the activity about urbanization. And what was the key natural resource of the Industrial Revolution and textile industry? So what were the things? What were the things they used? What did they need in order for them to kind of manufacture fabric, which is textiles, or what was some of the natural resources that they were already using that was relevant to them growing? And then water uh, was actually a source of energy, and then what changed. And so these are all factors that could be in our discussions, and even in our activity that we did, there's a mention of this. Again, same places, okay? What transportation methods emerged during the Industrial Revolution? And then new transportation machines, and why was transportation significant? Okay, this is actually going to be on page 173 and also 174. And those are going to be talking about more about the inventions and new things. Okay. And of course, most of our activity from last week on the drawing, okay, and the growing of the city was about this word. So think back what it was. I will post up our slides about the activity next after Monday of Monday the 9th, so that you can have an idea to kind of go back to those slides and just think about what urbanization really was. And then it also will kind of help you with the living conditions and why these living conditions were like this, how it affected people's health. This is going to be in the section about impact on page 176 and all the way to about 179. And so think about how that actually affects everything. And so these are some of the effects and consequences, especially women's roles. Uh, and what with the Factory Act? The Factory Act is in the book, okay? And that I can give you the exact page. It's on page 177. And then think about what suffrage is. Okay, again, it relates to women. Okay, and it relates to this idea of what just happened in America just very recently, and it's a very important idea. So look up the word suffrage, and then think about how that is important for the 18 and early 1900s. Okay, and of course, what are the effects of the Industrial Revolution? Think back to our web quest, think back to our ed puzzle, and of course our activities, and all of these things, because we are still experiencing the effects of the Industrial Revolution. Last couple of things is going to be James Watt and Eli Whitney, some very important inventors of that time. And you can very easily just kind of look up line what they actually invented, but make sure you use and go back to some of the entries from our book, from our lectures, from our slides, to kind of refer back why is this so significant and important. Okay. Again, the reliance on the internet isn't really helpful, especially if the information isn't actually valid or like wrong. So don't use Wikipedia. I'm telling you exactly where to find all this information specifically. So I tend for you to kind of be using that. So make sure you use the book, pages 171 to about 179 for all the information you could possibly need. We have a large uh, slide in Nearpod, okay, on the Industrial Revolution, which has a good amount of information about everything here in the study guide. And of course, if you kind of remember back to some of your activities, just referring back to some of the activities and some of the links there, those are properly the proper links that you should be using, and not just googling everything and using Wikipedia, which is wrong. Okay. All right, so everything from weeks 13 and 14 in the school industrial revolution is going to be helpful in this. Hopefully, you kind of refer back to it and complete it in that sense, okay? And again, for your quiz next week, there will be a map, and just kind of refer to our general entry of probably, I believe it's slide 3 or 4, which helps you kind of look at a map. So how does this map, how do you interpret it? How will it affect this idea of in the Industrial Revolution. Okay. Hopefully, all of this information is helpful. If you do still need questions or where do I find this, Mr. Xiao, I'll be happy to repeat. So let me know if you have questions on anything specific. But we are already giving you the tools. Hopefully, you'll be able to find everything you need within these couple of weeks and also through the lessons that we give you. Okay. All right, thank you for your time, guys. Make sure you finish the study guide and make sure you use it on your quiz. All right, bye.